In this final video for the presentation layer, I'm going to work on the search function. We're going to need a form initially, so I'm going to go ahead and add a form action. This will go to search.php. The method can be post. Now, remember, get method will also work with a form. In fact, it'll cache the value in the URL window, so I'm fine if you use get. I like keeping everything clean, so I'm going to keep it at post. I'm going to do input type text, name equals query, which is what we did in week 14. I'm not going to have a value, but I will have a placeholder. And that'll be something like find a recipe. And I don't need a break tag because I want this to be all on one line. But I want input type equals submit. It'll be a traditional submit method. The name can equal submit. And the value here can be something like search. Great. So now I have my search. I can go into my browser, take a good look. Looks pretty clean. Find a recipe and search. But the intention of this is to help people find the recipe. So what I can do is have the search function be on the home page, preferably to the right over in this section. So what I'm going to do now is go into my final project, go into my home page, and somewhere at the top here I can close out. Actually, you know what? I'll just do include search.php, but we would float this right ordinarily. So if I do this, it's going to be on top, and I'll let you guys do the styling if you want. But you could easily do something like, okay, well, let's echo div style equals float right. If this is your first PHP course, this is something that may not make sense yet. So let's just give you a little heads up on how to do this. So basically I'll have the form, this will be floated right, I can hit refresh now, and you'll see that it's on the right side of the page, and if I scrunch in like this, it's completely responsive but not styled at all. So we'll close that out and go directly to our search, which has the same value. So back into the search.php. Oops. Thank you, software update. Now the next thing I need to do is do my query. So in this case, I will do equals underscore post query. So if is set scalar query, what we can do is just do a SQL, make it equal. Actually, we'll call it search SQL. Because remember, this is going to be on a whole separate page. So search SQL will equal dbh prepare, and this is where the same query from last week will be in play. So I'm going to select all from rec underscore recipes, where the recipe title is like percent query percent, or the recipe description is like percent scalar query percent. And I'll continue. I'll do some parametric binding later on this, but right now I just want to make it work. So we'll do search SQL execute. And guess what we can do? We can actually take our home page and make something similar. If you look at our home page, we have the same exact section here. So what I can do is just copy and paste this value. So this was just doing nothing but displaying the data. Now as we grow, we can make this object-oriented, create one function called getProduct, do anything we want. Right now I'm going to make the snippet a little bit smaller, and my height could be something like 50 on the image. So like right now, I have search SQL as my query, and everything should work out fine like this. So this is search.php, right? And let's do lemon. And we can search, and I'll do lemon here, and we'll make sure that it's functional. Now you see nothing happening, okay? Now keep in mind, we've got search down here, we've got this preparation statement. Now, I usually do my binding after because I want to make sure everything's perfect. But it doesn't look like this has any value. So what we're going to do is do the same thing we've been doing and do a print R for search SQL and do error info like that and hit lemon, and hopefully we get, oh, look at that, nears lemon at line 1. So I might have a problem with my oh, look at that, I didn't have to do a closing single quote on that, and that's why it screwed up. So this is a great help, that print R error info. And now I have lemon fiesta cake. Now I know both of these have the word grease in them, and that works fine too. So read more goes right to here, and we have our values. Now one thing we haven't done yet is to find out the number, the count of how many values we had. So, because you would like something like your search for something, you know, your search for query. Here, we'll do this right now. Your search for .scalar query generated, and we'll do results. So we'll do some number. We'll do parentheses around it. Num results with a break tag. So this is what I'm talking about, where we want, if there is a value, to show how many results there are. Okay, so if I do this and hit this, it generated 0 results. So what number would be? And in this case, you've got, you know, user here, and I should have a bold tag on that, definitely. So I'll add a strong tag inside there, and now we have to figure out how are we going to have our values, and now you see bold, show a count. Okay, so one thing we can do immediately is select count ID as num results from recipes with title like that and title like that. Cool. So now that I have that, what I can do is do scalar search SQL fetch. Actually, we'll do scalar search row equals search SQL fetch, and we only want one value. So down here we could do scalar search row and then num results with the alias that's at the top. Okay, so basically this whole thing was solely meant for generating the number of results. Now I'm going to comment out everything so I don't get an error, because I want to make sure this works. And now I can do something like refresh, generated 0 results. Or if I do lemon search, 1 result. Or strawberry, should be 1 result. So if I do grease, it should be 2 results. There we go. So we've got what we need to do. Now the second thing to do is to teach you how to parametric bind with those values. Okay. So right here I can do a question mark and another question mark right here, and still bind the value. So what I can do is create like a variable like term and make that equal to, we can do it double quote percent scalar query percent, like that. And then we can, once we have that, we can bind the value as we have been doing all along. So this would be search SQL bind value, and we'll do one scalar term, and that would be PDO : param str, because we're looking for a string. And we'll also do this to the second question mark. So every time we make a change like this, I'd like to go ahead and do another test. So I've saved it, we'll hit refresh, and it looks like everything's still functioning. So now all we need to do is make sure we get the actual value, and to do that I am going to do the next query. So it's going to be very similar. We are going to grab these values, all of these values again, and inside here I can call this display, and this can be, we already have the term defined. So this will be display. And we just want a different variable for our section. Now as we grow, again, this could be object-oriented. We could have a one function and one class that does this whole thing. But that's down the road. When you get a little experience under your belt, you'll be looking to replace repetitive blocks of code with one block of code and learning how to call it. We do that a little bit in WebD 166 in this school. So I'll call this display row. Remember, this was copied right from our homepage. So this is display row 2, display row 2. Now I've got height equals 50 here, which I like. Let's keep it small. I think everything looks good here. I need to close out my comment here. So if there is a result, this should work. We're binding the values and outputting it the same way we are. We reduce the number of sentences before the read more link. Let's run it. Let's check it out. There's your search for lemon generated one result, and it doesn't look like I have the title, so we'll have to. This looks like strawberry, by the way. So I want to make sure that this is perfect. So this is select. Oh, look, I did the. It should be select all, and that's why it's not showing the values. So we want all in this case. So I'll refresh, and now we have lemon fiesta cake. If I do strawberry, it has strawberry cake. If I do grease, I can get both, and then still go to lemon fiesta cake. And I can still go to strawberry shortcake. So that's how we can implement the front end for our search. And again, let's say the user comes to the home page. We'll run a quick test on this. And we'll just type in cake, which is part of the cake here, and both come up. I'm in the search, and now I can actually go to the page. So now we've implemented a search, and that's pretty much the end of our display for our project. We can obviously tweak it as we do our one usability check next week for week 16. But in week 16, we're going to code the back end that allows us to submit. So users will be able to submit comments, and administrators will be able to submit their content. I hope this helps with whatever theme you've decided to use for your project. Any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.